Om Nilambujashyamal Komalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panau Maha Sayak Charu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, is very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side, and he is carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. The subtler meanings have been given to you before, and we are moving on. In Balakanda, the Sri Ramacharita by Goswami Tulsi Ji Maharaj, and Doha number 79 onwards. Remember the context. Parvati Devi is practicing intense austerity, and Lord Shiva has sent 7 sages to test Parvati. All that again you have to understand. Lord Shiva wants to bring out the strength of Parvati. So when examiners test you, there's no ill feeling behind it. So those Saptarshis, they are saying, Ab sukha sovat sochu nahi, bhikha mangi bhavakani, sahaje kani ke bhavan, kabahu ki nari khatahi. Shiva was wedded to Sati, and he abandoned Sati and brought about her destruction. Every news can be twisted. Now Shiva has no worry. That's what he wants, loneliness. And he sustains himself by bhiksha. He doesn't cook his food. Sleeps profoundly. How can any woman live with him with all this torture and suffering? The storyline, it is very interesting, and mystical line is very clear. Shiva is Brahman. Brahman is non-dual. He has brought about the destruction of the limited intellect, who plays the role of Sati. And he has humbled Daksha. Anyone marrying Shiva would imply blending with Shiva. Shiva is Brahman. And Viveka Buddhi, discriminative intellect, intuitive intellect, the daughter of Parvati and Mana, that represents the intuitive intellect. So, if intuitive intellect is going to marry Shiva, both of them become Ardhanarishwara. Shiva is Ardhanarishwara. Their role is 50%, perfectly equal to Shiva. Kabahu ki nari khatahi. Nari term is related to Sthri. Sthri, which is triad. Soul depending upon, trapped in the world of triad. That soul is called Sthri. All souls are Sthri. In normal translation, they are women. They bring it out completely in the for popular public. There is a complete misinterpretation. They always find quotations from the scriptures that degrade women. Priyascharithram purushasya bhagyam daivo na janati kutah manusya. What I recited, the meaning is, whenever in a family there is a conflict, the husband or husband's party quotes the scripture. Triyascharithram. The manner in which a woman behaves and plays her tricks, that manner is difficult even for gods to understand. Purushasya bhagyam. But there is a relief. The man's destiny is also beyond imagination. Daivo na janati. Even gods don't know man's destiny. So by exercising your self-effort, you can stay away from the clutches of women. That's the normal meaning. The real meaning, whenever women have been mentioned, they relate to Sthri, consciousness depending upon three factors: seer, seen, and sight, known as Triputi. This is just like in your dream. Three illusions have gripped you. The dream subject, that's the seer of the dream. Dream subject is not real. The dream world is not real. And the interacting experience, pleasure, pain that you get in your dream, that's not real. So, you are wedded to this Sthri. Soul deluded by the triad. And if that soul comes to realize I am Brahman, or joins with God, then Nari Khatahi, this threefold illusion will wane and disappear. That's what Saptarshis are telling her, which is perfectly true. But outwardly, apparently, it is kind of a negative statement to discourage Parvati from marrying Shiva. In simple terms, the scripture has brought about an artistic story to allow your mind to ponder over subtle mystery of spiritual movement. Ajahum manahu kaha hamara, हम तुम कहूँ बर नीक विचारा, अति सुंदर शुचि सुखद सुशीला, गावहि वेद जासु जस लीला. Still there is time. Listen to what we have to say to you. We have thought about the best bridegroom or best husband for you, who is extremely handsome, pure, giver of bliss, embodiment of gentleness. Even the Vedas sing his praises, and his leelas are source of inspiration for all. She's referring to Vishnu. Rather, the Maharshis are referring to Vishnu. And reading it, you say, what harm is there? The Saptarshis are saying the truth. Let's try to understand. Parvati is already past that stage. That grade has been passed by Parvati. The grade of developing divine qualities. Vishnu worship is meant to develop Devi Sampat. So once you have passed that stage of Devi Sampat, now you come to the stage of Shiva. Shiva is Tattva Gyan that burns up ignorance. So since she does not belong to that grade, Vishnu is not the one he is going to go after. So she says, if you had told me earlier, I could have. It's too late. Satya kahehu giri bhavatanu eha, hatana chutay baru deha, kanakau puni pashanate hoi, jarehu sahajuna parihara soi. Parvati Devi says to those sages that your words are true. I am as unshakable as the mountain, born out of a mountain. So what can I do? Stay like a mountain. Giri bhavatanu eha. This body is born of the Himalayas. Hatana chut. My obstinacy will not be diminished. Let the body fade away, but not my persistence. There again, the subtle meaning, hatha. Hatha is this mystic process of blending Ida and Pingala in Kundalini movement. Sun and moon. The active, dynamic aspect of your personality blending with the passive aspect, the two aspects of nature. I will not go too much on that direction. And that sadhana, she will continue until she marries Shiva. Even gold is procured out of stones, out of mineral stones, which are subjected to fire, melting. And everything melts. The gold remains gold. It simply becomes more purified and emerges out of the mess. So that is by condition. I'm allowing myself to be burnt up, but gold within me will shine. So don't worry about the burning aspect. Think of the gold. Narada bachana namay pariharam, basau bhavan ujarav nahi darav. What Narada told me, it was inspired by Narada that Parvati Devi started practicing austerity for marrying Shiva. Narada is Satsangha. The message of Satsangha is not anything lesser than mukti, moksha, liberation, which implies Parvati marrying Shiva. The Parvati aspect within you, Viveka Buddhi, blending with Tattva Gyan, absolute knowledge. Two aspects of spiritual movement are given in the scriptures. One is relating to Purusha, the self, the shining, who is like a shining sun. Another is Prakriti, that becomes the source of your body, mind, senses, ego. As you spiritually advance, Prakriti brings about the blossoming of the quality of discrimination, Viveka Buddhi. Viveka Buddhi is the blossom in the flow of Prakriti. And Shiva process is a revelation. Shiva is like the sun. Prakriti has created clouds. But it is Prakriti that will allow the cloud to become little thin. As cloud thins, sun shines. Thinning of the cloud, shining of the sun. Two aspects of spiritual movement. One aspect is ascending. Another aspect is revealing by descent, by mystic descent, called Arohan and Avataran. And that's the marriage of Shiva and Parvati. The result of this marriage is going to be the birth of Subramanya, Kartikeya, who is going to destroy ignorance. Birth implies Atma Sakshatkar. Narada bachanana मैं परिहरऊं, बसऊ भवन उजरऊ नहीं डरऊं. Narada's teachings, his instruction, I will not give up. Basau Bhavan, let there be prosperity, or let not there be any prosperity. In other words, this type of marriage is not dependent upon how much bhoga I will have. Bhoga and moksha, two aspects of soul's goal. But when the soul has become highly advanced, the goal is moksha, liberation. But at the same time, as long as the jivan mukta, there will be possibility of bhoga around him. But that does not in any way diminish his spiritual stability in a higher level. In other words, there is no, if you have the sun and illuminations, you have given both choices. Sun is bhoga. All illuminations are, rather sun is the apavarga, moksha. All illuminations are bhoga. So whether you have both the sun and the illuminations, or you have just the sun, figure that out. Guru ke bachan pratiti na jehi, sapne hu sugam na sukha siddhi tehi. And that again, speaking of guru-disciple relation. Narada plays the role of Satsangha, and Satsangha has its highlight in guru-disciple relationship. So spiritual progress is secured by a proper relationship between guru and disciple. Guru's words. If one does not trust Guru's words, then there is no real relationship. Such a person cannot get sukh or siddhi even in dream. Sukh is happiness, siddhi, mental powers. Mahadev avagun bhavan Vishnu sakal gun dham Jahi kar manuram jahi san tehi san kam. Lord Shiva is the abode of avaguna. Avaguna here relates not to, avaguna is normally vices, opposed to virtue. Here avaguna relates to gunas that are negated. Brahman is achyuta, amara, ajara. Anything you describe, any attribute, with Brahman, A has to be added, implying neti, not this, not this, not this. So all the gunas get stuck to a knot. And that's a simple puzzle like a mathematics. Can describe God with all the great qualities. But attainment of liberation is not dependent upon your ability to describe God. He is Satchidananda, He is Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. All the good things you can describe. The liberation is not dependent upon your ability of describing God. All your descriptions are limited. So, in the state of enlightenment, all that concepts of your mind have to be negated. So, Brahman is best described with neti, not this, not this. And it sounds, therefore, he has no good quality. Not a single good quality you can imagine in him. While in Vishnu level, all good qualities. Vishnu level is a stepping stone, rather in the process of ascending, Vishnu is a powerful role. But when you have gone to level of absolute paravairagya, even that role moves away. You are moving from samprajnata to asamprajnata, from lower samadhi to highest samadhi. Jai kar manuram jahi san, tehi sanakam. Literal meaning is, whoever gives you a source of joy, that one becomes important for you. And all people find, according to their own mental state, what pleases them. The implication is, as you advance on the spiritual path, the mind that was focusing its attention on an object of meditation, think of practice of concentration, meditation and samadhi. In concentration state, you have chosen an object and mind focuses on it. But that focusing state is very important in the beginning. But to come to meditation state, focusing state is not important, it becomes spontaneous. If you come to samadhi state, even meditation becomes spontaneous. So, in description, you will be told, you are practicing concentration, but you have to give it up. You will practice meditation, but you have to give it up. To practice samadhi, And samadhi has various steps. You have to go on giving them up until you come to the highest. And all this movement depends upon Jehikar Manu Ram Jahi San. Mind becomes absorbed. Man ka ram jana. And behind Ram, the finger point to Rama. Brahman in the Ramayana is Rama. Whenever things are very interesting, Hindi word is Manoram. Mind is melting in Rama. जो तुम मिलते हो प्रथम मुनीसा सुनिता हूं सिख तुम्हारी धरी सीसा. If you had come to me in early stage, before Narada met me, then I would have followed your instruction. अब मैं जन्म संभुहित हारा को गुण दूषण करे विचारा. Now I have become wholeheartedly surrendered to Lord Shiva. And I am not there to think of the benefits and the losses of this relationship. In other words, the attainment of liberation is neither gain nor loss. No, it's not a gain. In the world of relativity, you always deal with gain and loss. Try to understand that point. Even in your dream, you have a wonderful gain. You got a lottery. In your garden, you got hundreds of mangoes. I'm just trying to give you any concept of gain. All the gain in your dream is not real gain. All the losses in your dream are not real loss. So the concept of gain and loss is not directed towards enlightenment. But that should not discourage you. It is the highest gain. That's bhuma, the boundless bliss of the absolute. It's just like when you deal with the illuminations of the sun, there is always little or more. But when you are dealing with the sun itself, that's all that consideration of measuring how much of the light I am receiving, that goes away from your mind. जो तुम्हारे हट हृदय विषय की रही न जाई बिनु किए बरेशी तो कौतिकी अन आलसु नाही वर कन्या अनेक जग माही. Now, Parvati Devi says to those sages, but if you are so insistent that I must marry, why don't you go after those people who are eager to get married? There are a lot of marriage connections that you can handle. If that is what your job is, to get people married, matchmaking. There are so many husbands, so many brides. Go there, create some matchmaking. People who are busy with fun, they do not feel discouraged. Janam koti lagi ragar hamari, barau sambhur nata rahau kumari, tajauna Narada kar upadeshu, apu kahi satbara maheshu. I will not be shaken from my resolve to marry Shiva. Even if I were to take million births. In a storyline, say, oh, what a powerful resolve. But it applies to every one of you. No soul will be absolutely fulfilled unless the soul realizes I am that. And whether it takes million births, it doesn't matter. That's the ultimate truth that is on the head of every individual, knocking on your head. मैं पापरऊं कद कहाई जगदम्बा तुम गृह गवनु कवनहु भयउ विलंबा देखी प्रेम बोले मुनि ज्ञानी जय जय जगदम्बिके भवानी. Parvati said, I offer my adorations to your lotus feet. All of you, please go to your homes. You have lost much of your time. And then those sages said, now they have come to a great joy, state of joy, implying Parvati passed her examination. O Bhavani, the mother of the universe, glory, glory to you. Tum maya bhagavan Shiva, sakal jagat pitumat, nai charan sir muni chale, puni puni har shat gatu. You are Maya, cosmic illusion. Lord Shiva is the Lord. You are his power. Both of you are the parents, mother and father of the universe. Thus saying, they bowed down to the feet of Parvati Devi, and they were all thrilled with joy. As I have already told you, these 7 sages are the spirits behind 7 steps of wisdom. So each time a high level of attainment comes in your personality, 7 sages become romanchit. Romanchit. Hairs come upon their head, their body. Hairs on their head. We'll find out where the head is. Jai munine himavantu pathaye, karibinati gir jahin grihlaye, bahuri sapta rishi shiva pahi jai, katha uma ke sakal sunai. The sages conveyed this whole experience to Himavan, father of Parvati, and father of Parvati, Parvati's parents, brought Parvati home. And then the Saptarshis went to Shiva and told all that had happened. Bhaye magan Shiva sunat saneha, harashi saptarishi gavane geha, manu tirkari tab sambhu sujana, lage karan raghunayak dhyana. Lord Shiva became exceedingly joyous listening to the report given by the sages. And it led Shiva to turn his mind on Rama. And he began to practice that profound meditation on Rama. Rama is Brahman, the Absolute. Taraku asur bhayau tehi kala, bhuj pratap bal tej vishala, tehi sab lok lokapati jeete, Bhaye Deva Sukha Sampati Rite. A lot of stories being summarized. During that time, there arose a great demon, a demoniac power led by Taraka. Taraka term relates to crossing over. It relates to swimming. Tarakasur drags souls into the ocean of misery and dumps them. You have two types of facing the ocean, going into the ocean to be dumped, to be sunk. Taraka is a sinking process. But Taraka mantra is saving you from being sunk. The same word is used with negative connotation and positive connotation. Taraka, according to the style of all demons, Taraka practiced intense austerity, meditating on Brahma, and Brahma granted the boon that no one can ever kill him, no power on earth and in heavens. But Shiva's son will be able to kill him. Tarakasur was given the choice. Don't ask for immortality, but ask for anything. And he exercised his mind and thought he was very clever. Because he had heard Lord Shiva, how Sati was burnt up, and no one can really, according to his mind, no one can really marry Shiva, and idea he will have a son, that's impossible. But that's storyline. Mystic line, ignorance is destroyed by Tattva Gyan, knowledge of the self. And knowledge of the self is the product of Prakriti and Purusha blending together. Soul, wedding, as it were, Vivek Buddhi, intuitive intellect. As a result, Tattva Gyan arises. So that type of birth of a son is totally different from what ordinary mind thinks of a son. अजर अमर सो जीती न जाई, हारे सुर करी विविध लड़ाई, तब विरंचि सन जाई पुकारे, देखे विधि सब देव दुखारे. Gods could not defeat this Taraka. Countless types of battle went on, but gods were defeated again and again. They approached Brahma, the creator, bringing all the report of all the misery and pain they have been suffering because of Tarakasur. And Brahmaji told them, Sab san kaha bujhai vidhi, danuj nidhan tab hoi, Sambhu shukra sambhut sut, ehi jeetai ran soi. Brahmaji told them that there is only one way this demon will be killed. If Shiva brings about his son. And that became a bigger riddle for the gods, how to let Shiva be interested in Parvati. Mor kaha suni karaus upai, hoihi ishwar karhi sahai, sati jo tat taji dacha makhadeha, janmi jai himachal geha. Listen, God will assist us, and our project will be successful. Sati Devi, who sacrificed her body in in the Daksha Yajna that Sati Devi has been born in the family of the Himalayas. Kahin tapukin Shambhupati lagi, Shiva Samadhi baithe sabu tyagi. And Parvati Devi has practiced intense austerity for marrying Shiva. And she has passed the examination already. But Shiva, on this side, has entered into deep samadhi. Now this is a problematic situation. Patavahu kamu jai Shiva pahi, kare chobha shankara manamahi. Send Kamadeva, Cupid god, with the project of agitating Shiva's mind. And when Shiva gets agitated, then we will all go and have him get married to Parvati. All this very advanced writing of mysticism. The idea is that's the way normal marriages take place. But spiritual marriage is totally a different situation. For worldly marriage, Kama must be there. The Cupid god must be there. But for mystic marriage, Kama must be destroyed. Nirbal man. Mind must be free of balas. Kama is symbolic of bala. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Instead of highlighting all the six, the scripture highlight Kama, which is easy to understand. And it is very prominent in all human psyche. And so that's in a mystic way, that's what is being brought out, how Shiva destroys Kama. And then becomes ready to marry Parvati. Now therefore the marriage brings about destruction of ignorance, mukti, liberation. There is a highly poetic description of Kama striving to agitate Shiva. Ehi vidhi bhale hi devahit hoi, mat ati neek kahai sabu koi, astuti suranaki na ati hetu, pragatiu vishama bana jhashaketu. This solution was presented to gods, and gods said, very well, we will persuade Kama to take up this project of bringing Shiva out of samadhi. And so the gods offered their prayers to Kama, Kamadeva. And Kamadeva appeared. How did he appear? Vishamabans, 5 arrows, holding 5 arrows, and he is recognized by fish mark. He has a flag, and that is printed picture of a fish. What does it imply? It implies that if Kama dominates your mind, the whole world becomes a source of Vishayaras. And you become a fish. A fish is in a lake. Lake is all rust for the fish. And fish doesn't even have to wink. So that's called Jashaketu. And Vishamban, 5 arrows, according to the Puranas, these are the 5 arrows. White lotus, Ashoka flowers, mango blossoms, Jasmine blossoms, blue lotus. They have picked up the best of flowers from the old style forest. 5 types. They awaken that sentiment for pleasure. But while they awaken sentiment of pleasure, as long as karma is ruling your mind, if karma is destroyed, they awaken sentiment of love for God. They bring out glory of God. So either you become inspired by seeing glory of God in all these beautiful things, or these beautiful things drive your mind to worldly enjoyments. सुरन कही निज विपति सब, सुनि मन कीन विचार, शंभु विरोधन कुशल मोहि, बिहसि कहेउ असमार. Kamadeva is also known as Mar. Mar is, when he strikes, he is not going to fail. And that has double meaning. The worldly people, they can't defeat Mar. But when Mar strikes Shiva, Mara is physically burnt up, but spiritually continues to exist. That story is coming, you see. When we say spiritually continues to exist, it implies your karma, your desire for worldly enjoyment, becomes converted into aspiration for self-realization. Tadapi karma mai kaj tumhara. So Kama first said to gods that it is fighting with Shiva. I know that it is not going to be good for me. That will be my end. But I will do what all of you are requesting me to do. I want to be of service to you. तदपि करब मैं काज तुम्हारा, श्रुति कह परम धर्म उपजा उपकारा. I will, in spite of that, I will take up that project. Because doing good to others is considered the best dharma. Whoever allows his body to terminate doing good to others, saints praise that type of person. Simple point to understand. The life should flow on, insisting upon paropakar, doing good to others. Continue until you kick the bucket. असतहि चलऊ सबहि सिरुनाई, सुमन धनुष कर सहित सहाई. चलत मार अस हृदय विचारा, शिव विरोध ध्रुव बरनु हमारा. Kamadeva was well aware that this will be his own destruction. And he went on with his bow and arrows. And arrows are all flowery arrows. Tab apan prabhau vistara, nij bas kinh sakal sansara. Kama now exercised his immense power. The whole world became dominated by Kama. The storyline is not giving you a history. It is telling you the fact. But by creating this type of literature, it's just like you create special literature for children, you are allowing human mind to be fascinated by this story. Kopeu jabahi varichara ketu. The moment Kama became ready, as if he was wrathful, the moment he exercised his vital strength, all the maryada, all the limits that are placed by spiritual injunctions, all the limits were lost. In other words, people lost all the restrictions that the scriptures place for disciplining one's personality. No more truth, no more harmony, no more generosity, no more this, no more that. Brahmacharya Brata Samjamanana Dhiraja Dharma Jnana Vijnana. Brahmacharya, no more brahmacharya, no more niyamas, shauch, santosh, satsang, etc. No more of various restraints. No more dhiraj, no more patience. No dharma, not to be led by any insightful teaching. No righteous conduct, no japa, no yoga, no vairagya. The whole army of Viveka ran away when Kama prepared himself to fight against Shiva. And with this I will conclude. Om Triambakam Jamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarkum Bandhanan Mrityor Om Shri Ramaya Namah. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.